Hi, Quiet Liz here, and today I'm going to talk about laser hair removal and might as well throw in electrolysis, just cuz. Um, so I've talked about hormones and such, which is kind of like the biggest factor. It was kind of interesting. I ended up going because of a Groupon, found a lady who runs her own shop, or well, at the time was running her own shop. I don't know if she's expanded to be more than just a one person thing. I know she's done a few other business endeavors and such, but she was pretty amazing. So I told her about my situation and what all I had planned to get done. I say what all I had planned to get done because, well, um, I was starting in phases, and we kind of like I did my research. I knew um, quite a bit about lasers and how effective they are or aren't. You can see here, this color here. I'm terrible at reflecting there. Yeah, so like from there, I have fairly dark brown or brunette hair. Um, oh, and my big giant eyebrows. Very dark facial hair as well, which I guess the eyebrows would be a better example of. Very good things for laser, which is very promising. The one thing that she had mentioned, and I was kind of skeptical about because I hadn't read or seen anything about this, um, was to get started preferably as quickly as possible before I went on hormones. And I had started my laser hair. So I was having this conversation in June, I think, and I didn't start hormones until August. Um, I think it was something like that. There are various other reasons why the time difference in terms of like hormones in August. But I believe I went over that in the hormone video. Anyways, before I get stuck on a tangent, so started laser about 3 months, and I started on my face, because, well, surprise, surprise, that was the most triggering. Was kind of interesting that my face and my chest and stomach were essentially like the major dysphoric trigger areas. Nothing else was at the time. That changed as things went on. But in any case, so I got a good month or two, maybe 3 months technically, before hormones started to mess with my hair. Um, and that was the part that I was skeptical because she had mentioned it's better for me to start before I start my hormones. And I was like, okay. And her rationale was twofold. One, the hair changes, which I understood to a degree, but I didn't think was going to be that big of a deal. Um, Later on, I came to learn that it was kind of a bigger deal. All it really meant in that aspect was um, it took longer. So I needed more sessions. Not a huge deal. Two was growth rate and such. Um, what was interesting, so at this point, I am shaving my face. So before hormones, shaving my face, shaving my chest, shaving. Words are hard when saying shaving over and over. Shaving my stomach area. Um, and grooming other things, but you know. Um, not the point, not the point right now. So, we started on my face, which, oh dear God, that was horrible. Like, um, she was impressed with how well I could handle the pain, but it hurt so bad. And, like, So one of the common warnings with like laser hair removal, at least, I never got this from my electrolysis, but just from her and researching, was avoid sunlight for the rest of the day if at all possible, or put sunscreen on if you can't avoid that. Um, so it hurt, and it hurt even more to have the sun. I mean, the sun is pretty intense here, so it it was bad. Manageable but bad. Anyway, so the worst spots for me were like my chins, like these two little spots here, and the whole lip area. Holy crap. Um, the bonus was that it didn't last too much, and the one nice thing was that after her and I restarted playing with what I was okay with and what I could handle, I found that, or well, we found that if she ignored me wincing in pain because I had told her I was okay with this, that it was easier for her to do several zaps across, like, say, if you will, just like straight across, and just if I didn't twitch too much for her to like have to readjust and pause, then it was better for me to handle the full effect all at once than it was to do like zap, 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 zap kind of thing, because like that little pause was horrible for me. So, if you're going down that road, feel free to experiment and try different things. Hopefully your technician is willing to do that, because hey, different strokes for different folks kind of thing. Um I ended up doing for my face, so that is like all the way here, and my neck and my chin and like this area here. 13 sessions, if I remember correctly, was the amount. Because I had paid for 3 6 month time frames, and then I had taken like those 5 to do armpit hair, because I was like, she told me it wasn't worth doing laser, and she was right. I mean, I have. So I never did electrolysis on my face. I don't know if I will, because I have about 30 hairs left, and I don't know. I still need razors for shaving in general, so I'm okay with like shaving those 30 hairs whenever they're annoying, because it's like once a week, if that, and it doesn't even take a minute at this point. Like I can wet shave and be done, and it's good. So I don't know. Maybe some point I'll get that done, but it hasn't been a huge deal for me. So in any case, with the armpits, I did the chest and the stomach area as like an all-in-one. We would do that in sessions, and that took. Before I go on, so the reason that I figured out, or what she was saying made sense and clicked with hormones, was that we started on the face, and I noticed that my hairs on my chest and my body, which I had researched, was getting softer. So that part made sense. You know, it changed the way the hair was going. But the other thing was, it took longer to grow. And I don't know if that's just coincidence. What? It's anecdotal. I'm one person. I know that it does not make a data set for research, but I'm sharing what I can. I know about me. um, so I noticed that, yes, my hair took longer to grow, which was kind of cool because it meant I could go for a day or two without having to shave before feeling dysphoric about my body. In any case, the other aspect that was surprising was that the timelines match up so that my chest hairs and my face had a bit of overlap. So like what we were doing was once a month, and then eventually once every 6 weeks was the schedule. We would do my face, and then I would come in another time a couple weeks later, or basically in the middle, and do the chest and the stomach, and that's where eventually the armpits got added in when my face stuff um, just wasn't worth it. And I was like, okay, cool. In any case, so the chest was the interesting part. So like pretty much here. Yeah, frick. Let me move the camera. So yes, boobs, they're a thing, and microphone with ghetto sock thingy because it helps. I'm cheap. In any case, so like this area here was okay, and then cool. Um, Around my nipples and that areolas was like the worst. And as I was on hormones longer and longer, I got bigger boobs. Woo! Kind of the goal. My skin got softer. Also, usually a goal for many. Um, Yay, right? Not with laser. It actually made it so much more painful, which was weird because like using my face as a reference point, as hair started to get less and less dense, it hurt less and less. So the further along we went with sessions, I was able to handle basically nonstop lasering in one go, sort of thing. The opposite was true with my chest and my stomach. Chest being the worst. Like, I got, imagine massive heartburn but you have that feeling, except it's like further up towards the skin level, and you're just confused because it's a familiar burning sensation of sorts, but it's not near your stomach and your esophagus and such. So yeah, I had to deal with that, and it didn't get any easier. Um, with hormones becoming more and more of a thing. What was interesting is as my chest hair and my stomach hair started to go away, and the dysphoria was going away from that, just like it did with my face, my legs started to bother me more and more. So I ended up getting, well, I started laser hair removal in my groin area because, well, I wanted bottom surgery. And I don't want, well, one, having hair removal done before surgery is a really good thing, because it reduces, well, one, if you've gotten rid of your hair, there's no way you're going to have hair inside your new vagina. At least you shouldn't. I guess it's possible that you might still have some hair growth and such, but that's where the electrolysis came in my story. I'll touch more on that in a moment. So I did laser in my groin area, which turned my hairs white. It was the only time that happened, which is a side effect. It can happen, and that was fine. I have no idea how I handled laser on my groin, but it wasn't as bad as my chest. So, I don't know. Is what it is. So, yeah. In the same time frame that I'm getting laser on my groin, I am also becoming more and more dysphoric over having to shave my legs. Got that taken care of, and as time went on, I found what was the culprit. Because of my darker hair color, whenever I would shave, I don't know. I don't have an example, but hopefully you can kind of relate. When you shave, there's like the little bit of hair that's under the skin layer can still be visible if it's a dark enough color. And all of those little dots for all of my leg hair, that's exactly what it was, because after a few sessions of laser hair removal on my legs started to lighten up, and they didn't look like little black minefields of sorts. I don't know how else to put it. And that was the relief there. So, yeah. Interestingly enough, the most painful spot was my shins. And I'm assuming that has to do just with the fact that there's very little fat, very little muscle there, and possibly the laser even going like enough to have some effect on the bone. I don't know. That could just be me. Anyways, back to the groin, because yay! Everybody wants to talk about that, right? I mean, I'm sure there's lots of people who do, and that's okay for you. This is awkward for me. Um, so yes, I wanted bottom surgery at the time, so I prepped early. As a result of my hair going vellus, I think is the term. Basically, it just went white. There was no gray hair, it was just white, and it was kind of amusing because, like, I never really paid much attention while cleaning during showers and such, to, like, whether or not there was hair. I mean, I was just like, wow, laser's doing great! It's all gone! Because I didn't like looking down there all that much. There's an exception to when that was okay, but while cleaning was, yeah. Anyways, so I just assumed that laser was doing really well and I had almost all the hair gone. What we ended up finding out was that, by we, I mean me and my technician, because I stopped shaving down there thinking I was good, and she'd commented that there were several long white hairs, and I was like, oh, okay. Well, crap. I guess I'm going to, like, take a good look and examine things. Um, and realize that, like, after a few weeks of, like, letting the hair grow after our session, I had, quite a large amount of hair left that I assumed was all gone. So, switched over to electrolysis. The difference between the two is, well, one zaps a patch. So, like, this whole area feels a nice little burning sensation, for a second or two. It's not really that long. It can be itchy and irritated, but in general, like, it's a patch. And to be fair, with the growing, it was like smaller patches, a bunch of little tiny patches all over my junk. Electrolysis, on the other hand, is one tiny little spot, and it is I don't know if a sharp stabbing sensation is really the appropriate way to describe it. It feels like a very, very tiny needle going in as if they were going to try and draw some blood with it. It doesn't go very deep, but it goes deep enough to have that feeling of something going in you. And for me, that felt like I was being cut. There would be no blood, no nothing. It would be like a clean insertion, into the hair follicle, and a little zap that was like, kind of like static hair. Like, you know, a static shock that you can get from grocery carts, like rubbing your hair and like dragging your feet along the floor, that sort of sensation. Although being in your groin, well, normally a small amount of pain, it's a lot bigger. Insert naughty joke there. Never mind. So yeah, it was stabby, zap, go away. And, like, it wouldn't go away as quickly for me as the laser did. Like, I would still feel kind of like a shadow, like something was still in there, and there was nothing there. Because I watched just out of curiosity to see if, like, me seeing it happen would make my brain think differently. It didn't. Like, my body still, like, felt things, and it would tell me things were going on that weren't really going on. What I found with electrolysis, the opposite of laser, was that in the beginning, electrolysis was less painful overall because I would go numb to the pain. Because after about like the fourth or fifth zap in the general area, so like if we're talking like this little area here and like poke, 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 I'm kind of numb at this point, and it's just like, oh, it just hurts. So the next one's poke, poke, poke. I can feel them, as in like something is there, but there's no pain anymore. It's just all numb to me. That was nice. And I was happy because I was like, cool, this is less painful than laser. Yay! As more and more hair got removed, it got more and more painful because it was now poke, zap, remove, go to a different area, poke, zap, remove, go back to a slightly, somewhat kind of close area, but not necessarily right next to it, poke, zap. So that gap in time was enough for the pain to increase to a lot more, so that like my final sessions before I had bottom surgery were incredibly painful. And unfortunately, I was not able to remove all the hair that I wanted removed before surgery, and follicle scraping did not get all of the hair. So I have to get some follow-up electrolysis to get rid of those hairs that are now inside. Well, thankfully, they're like right around the like the like opening. They're not very like far in or anything like that. So I'm grateful in that sense. But yeah, I am dreading that, and I'm still recovering from having had bottom surgery, even though it's past my 3-month mark. That I've kind of just put off that little bit of electrolysis because it hurts down there, and I don't want to. I do, but I don't want to get it done. I'm in that kind of a little limbo situation. Yeah, so I guess to sum things up, if you can, try and start laser before hormones. It helps. It makes things easier. Also, it is the largest amount and fastest growing hair that I've found, at least on a personal level. So it's good to get rid of it then, if possible. If not, I hope that you have dark hair, because even researching for a friend this year, laser technology has not essentially gotten to the point that you can have like light hairs permanently removed on a very successful level. So yeah, I hope light skin and dark hair, because that if that is not your situation, then electrolysis is the answer. Sorry. In any case, I hope you find that helpful, like tidbit of whatnot. Feel free to ask any questions if you may have some. I just realized I haven't been like bringing that up. In any case, yeah. So that's all for today. Bye.